Dr. D.S. Shivanandan ji is going to speak about strengthening Indic environmentalism by integrating new religious rites and ceremonies, a case study based on Nalpamaram Project 1.
Namaste to all, Nagaraji and other respected scholars online on different parts of India and the world. So I think it's a destiny that this conference, originally planned 6 months ago, has to happen now. This is the right time to discuss all these aspects of Indic environmentalism and how it affects the various conservation activities, how the nature and Hinduism and other Dharmic traditions are connected. So anyway, so my topic for today is strengthening Indic environmentalism by integrating new religious rites and ceremonies, a case study based on Nalpamaram project. So give me 1 minute to open this doc. Okay. The relationship between Sanatana Dharma and nature is well documented. Especially we saw yesterday how the various speakers narrated the close relationship between all these components. So today we'll start our discussion with a classical example from central Travancore, central part of Kerala. So you can see this wooden sculpture. This is actually a Ulsava Murti. See, this is from Plapandra Sri Bhadragali temple near Kayangulam, Kerala. Here you can see how this wooden sculpture is sculptured from a jackfruit tree. So you can see the various components of the priest conducting rituals and then the ceremonial cuttings, and then again it's followed by the transfer of the wooden part to the stapatis and how they are cut. And then finally it becomes the murti. So what I trying to convey to through this progression is that through this it gives the connection between what we are worshipping and the jackfruit tree. So this is a way of connecting nature with our divinity. Also, before cutting down this tree, they do prayers and do other ceremonial rituals to get permission from the tree. From a practical side, we can understand that this is a way of giving advance warning to the other residents of the tree that this tree is going to get cut. So some pre-cutting warning so that be ready so that you can move or migrate to next location. We can consider like this in a practical sense. Now, what broke this interconnection? The connection between Hinduism, the connection between Sanatana Dharma, and the connection between the nature. What broke this? So, I found out three major reasons. First one is colonialism, and second one is the Semitic philosophies to India, and third one is development by ignoring indigenous elements. The image in the slide shows the world's first teak plantation, which is in Kerala, Nilambur, started by British people for constructing shipbuilding. Shipbuilding in the world famous Nilambur teaks were used extensively. So they destroyed the local forest. They started teak plantation, and then they cut teaks also. Second one, just the previous talk, he mentioned how the Jain philosophies and to an extent the Buddhist philosophy, and yesterday we saw how the Hindu philosophy supported a very environmental friendly living. But that was not the case with Semitic philosophy. So I think yesterday Suraj Rajendran, my good friend, has mentioned this in his talk. In the third one, we'll discuss an example now. See, in 1961, the Kerala Livestock Improvement Act was introduced in Kerala. So the fourth para reads like this: bulls which have attained a certain age to be licensed. So this is about the Livestock Improvement Act 1961. So it reads, quote, no person shall keep a bull which has attained the prescribed age except under and in accordance with the terms, conditions and restrictions of a license granted under this section, unless it is certified by the prescribed officer that the bull has been effectively castrated by a method and in a manner approved by the director. An explanation again from the particular bill act, where a person keeps more than one bull, he shall obtain a separate license in respect of each bull. So this particular act was introduced at a time when the government, state level and the national level, was trying to import everything which is foreign to this land. So they ignored the indigenous breeds, the indigenous traditions, and they were trying to develop everything from the imported varieties breeds. So this is part of the white revolution. But there was a clause at the last part of this act, the 21, same act 21. Nothing contained in this act shall apply to a bull dedicated in good faith to a religious purpose in accordance with any religious usage or custom, provided that notice of the dedication is given in the prescribed manner to the licensing officer. So this act ensured that the bull, which was part of the family till then, till 1961, could not be continued in the family. Either he has to give it to some butcher or he has to dedicate it to a temple, because that will not be useful for him, because it has to be castrated. So this started the destruction of native breeds, especially in this part of Kerala. So one classic example of reviving this, how the local breed was saved from its dharmic connection, can be taken as this Vechur cow and Vechur bull. So Vechur is a place which is close to Vaikam Mahadeva temple, one of the largest Shiva temple in Kerala. And many Vechur bulls were dedicated or gifted to temple. They were living in association with the temple. So because of only their association with the temple, they got saved from castration, and we could able to continue the we could retrieve, or we could continue the legacy of this cows and breeds. Now all of us know how costly is the milk of Vechur cows, and the medicinal value of Vechur cows also. So we know that the dharmic angle played a very big role in saving this particular breed from destruction. It is in this background that we should study, we should learn the environmental impacts, environmental initiatives of Sadhguru Sri Mata Amritanandamayi Devi. Amma's ecological philosophy can be summarized in her own words from her address delivered at the United Nations Summit of Conscience for the Climate, Paris 2015. So it reads, nature is our first mother. She nurtures us throughout our life. Our birth mother may allow us to sit on her lap for a couple of years, but our mother nature patiently bears our weight our entire life. Just as a child is obligated to his birth mother, we should all feel an obligation and responsibility towards Mother Nature. So we should protect nature not because we expect something from her. That's our obligatory duty. That is the essential philosophy. We can have many reasons to protect Mother Earth, but this should be the bare minimum, the essential duty. If we forget this responsibility, it is equal to forgetting our own self. If we forget nature, we will cease to exist. For to do so is to walk towards death. And one of the primary project, one of the main project Amma has initiated is Vishu Tainita. Vishu is the summer festival in Kerala, mainly celebrated around April 14th, the New Year, the agricultural festival. And as part of the festival, one of the two prominent things are Vishu Kani and Vishu Kainita, where the elders gift coins, gold coins, or in modern currencies to the juniors or the children in the community. And also the members of the family will first see some auspicious objects. So Amma has introduced two more items to this the palette of Vishu. So first one is we can see the variety of plants, and also the Vishu Vrikshakani. This is known as Vrikshakani. So along with all the auspicious objects, a lamp and other things, Vrikshas, the plants were also kept. Second one is Vishu Tainita. Along with small coins or gold coins, the practice of distributing plants also started. So by integrating two new parts, this tradition has been enlarged or developed by Sri Mata Amritanandamayi Devi. And we can see that thousands of homes and temples all across Kerala are celebrating this for the last 6 years. Now coming to Nalpamaram. So Nalpamaram in Malayalam means Nal, Pal, Maram. It's a combination of three words. Nal, 4, milk, maram is tree. So here we can see 4 trees for lactate milking trees which produces milk. So we have Atti in Malayalam, and then Itti, then Arayal, Peral. So in Sanskrit, Udumbara, Plaksha, Ashwata, and Vada. So these 4 constitutes the set of Nalpamaram in Ayurveda. And these have immense medicinal value, and the medicinal values has been presented in this slide. So we can see most of the parts like bark, root bark, stem bark, aerial roots, leaves, buds, latex, twigs, fruits, and seeds are used in various Ayurvedic formulations to treat many diseases, including diabetics, skin diseases, ulcers, nervous disorders, vaginal disorders, burns, diarrhea, dysentery. The list is very large. So this has immense medicinal value. Now, the religious significance of Nalpamara trees. Among the 4 trees, the first 3 are first mentioned as a set, as mentioned in Shatapada Brahmana, first Brahmana, 12th Kanda, 7th Adhyaya. So here the situation is Indra has drank Soma and he is very tired, and from him all the energy flows out. From his skin, Indra's skin, his honor flowed and became the Ashwata tree. From his flesh, his force flowed, Indra's flesh, and became Udumbara. From his bones, his sweet drink flowed and became Nigrodha. So these are the 3 sets from Shatapada Brahmana. Another reference to this Nalpamara, the 3 among the Nalpamara trees can be found in the Mahabharata text. So Mahabharata Anushasana Parva, the conversation is between Yudhishthira and Bhishmacharya. Yudhishthira asked Bhishma Pitamaha, tell me some techniques to live long, how to have a very prosperous and lengthy life. Then he gives, an excellent person who desires prosperity on earth does not eat Pippala, Vata, Laksha, and Tumbra. This is another reference. So why? What is the logic behind this? The text doesn't mention anything, but using common sense we can understand. My interpretation is these all have high medicinal value. So if we eat it more, then it may affect our body in a unhealthy way. We can in Malayalam there is a saying, "Adhigamayal amrutavum visham." So maybe that's the reason. Then Vrikshayurveda gives a benefits of planting. So if you plant Pippala, then he will reach Hari's abode. Vishnaloka, then Vata, then Shivaloka, then Plaksha. Then the benefit will be equivalent to Rajasuya, the Rajasuya Yajna. Then the Udumbara, if we plant, then we will reach lunar world. So these are the benefits associated with Vrikshayurveda. Quotation from Vrikshayurveda, how the trees benefits the plant. Now the economic value. Economic value. Earlier we know we came to know that this has been extensively used in medical industry. So 1 kilogram of dried crushed cost around this bark cost around 300 to 400 rupees, and the annual requirement is around 500 tons per annum is the requirement of Ayurvedic industry inside India. So coming to the Nalpamaram project proper. The project involves distributing a set of 4 trees, this Atti, Itti, Arayal, and Peral, and then planting it in temple surroundings. These are very big trees, and it's very difficult to plant them in homes. So because the area will be very less in modern houses, so they are provided separate places in and around temples. So the project is to plant these 4 trees as a package. So one example is taken from our Calicut group, where they have planted 4 trees as a set near a temple. And it started in 2015, and we can see the number of Nalpamaram projects conducted over in 2015. So all the 14 districts from Thiruvananthapuram to Kasaragod, total around 86 events were conducted. You can see this plot. Now, this is about the statistics. Around 86 events were conducted and each place 4 trees were planted. This Atti Arayapal. Now, what is the significance? What is the significance of this particular project? First one, we can see its religious significance because we are planting 4 trees which has a very close religious connection where very good benefits are promised. So this will help the people, the devotees, to take care of the plants. And then medicinal. Nowadays, the Ayurveda industry needs a lot of raw materials, and the market people says they are not getting original or the proper bark. They are getting some duplicates or some other material. So these trees will also, maybe in another 15 to 20 years, will also support the Ayurveda medicine industry of India. And ecological benefits, I'm not listing anything in particular, but because we all know how beneficial this 4 trees to the ecology. And economical, the local temples definitely will have a source of income because they can give not the roots but the bark, the tube, and the fruits and some part of it. And also the other benefits include it act as a source of food for the local birds. So the significance of this project, the particular Nalpavaram project, is AMA has introduced this particular package by connecting it with a religious activity, and we hope that in near future, just like we have this Nakshatra Vana, this will be also circulated all over India, and many temples and other religious organizations will, whoever has some decent amount of space, because these are very big trees, will accommodate this 4 trees in the garden or the courtyard. Thank you. Here I
Thank you very much, Sivanandan ji.